Okay, so this is a reteach for relative dating. Some of us are still struggling a little bit with trying to understand this, so I'm going to walk you through how we do this. So I prefer to always start at the bottom. If we look at our picture, our options are at the bottom. We see a lot of A, but if we look behind A, we see that there's some C sticking through. And the other key is we see these little stars, which those stars are telling us metamorphic rock. So if it's metamorphic, that must mean there's a lot of heat and pressure at one time. And a lot of heat probably came from this magma A. So what that tells us, if these rocks were made metamorphic, they had to be there first. So they would be older than A. So our oldest is going to be C. And then it looks like A and B are our next options. And we can see that B goes over top of A. Since it goes over top or cuts through, A is older and B would be the youngest. Now that one was kind of simple, so we'll bounce down to one that's a little harder. Now this one we can see there's quite a bit more going on. I kind of colored layer E in yellow over here because it looked too much like A that I didn't want it to be confusing. So we again start at the bottom. The rocks at our bottoms, our options are between E and A. But we notice A again goes all the way up there, and these little dots again are trying to tell us that those are metamorphic rocks now. So that must mean the things that have the little dots on there came before A did. So A is not our oldest, which means that then E, if that layer continued on, would go way down there, and E would become our oldest layer. Now, after we look at E, we can move up. We notice there's a line in here for a fault, but that line is breaking a lot of other layers. So those other layers had to be there first. So if we just go up, we see this layer. There's no letter, but that's the same as this one over here. So our next one would be G. After G, we go up to the next layer and we see L. And after L, we go up and see C. That's a bad C. Anyways, so now we go look at M, and we notice M does not split in half. So that means the fault did not affect M, so the fault was before that. So the fault is older than M, so that's our next one. So H is older than M. Now we look at M. This A is still cutting through it, so M has to be older. And then we can go up to our next layer. A is still cutting, so D is older. Okay, and then we go to our next layer of these bricks. There's no letter there, but the letter is over here. And again, A is still cutting through, so we know J is older. And then now we notice A no longer cuts through. So since A is not cutting through anymore, it's time for A to show up on our little list over here. Okay, so now we move up again, and the next layer we see there's an N. That one's pretty straightforward. Then a K, and then B, and then F. And that's how we kind of break down relative dating. I hope this helps.